Welcome back. Let's now talk some party politics. The PDP is in focus again today. We're being joined in the program by the former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Tony Caesar Okeke. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Mr. Okeke, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for having me. Thank you.
I think a straight question I would ask you. How would you describe the state of the People's Democratic Party as we speak?
The party is in bad shape, and this pains me. It's in a terrible state, and this completely affects our democracy, because where you do not have a strong opposition, then democracy cannot really thrive. And I'm hoping that, as I discuss with you today, we would look into what led the party to this position and see how it could be corrected.
For some of us who have been watching this space, we know that a few things happened just before the election. From the fallouts at the primaries and to the selection of who is going to be the vice president or the running mate to the presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar, where 3 names were put out, and Senator Okowa, former Governor Okowa, was picked ahead of others and all of that. So what, in your view, brought us here? I mean, your party here, so that we can begin to talk about how to resolve the issue. Because the weakness, and dare to say sometimes the docility, as maybe described by some of the opposition, which people like Segun Showunmi have said that has even been more complicated now because the president picked a significant member of their party to join in his leadership. In your view, what brought us here?
Thank you very much. Now, I have to go back in time. I've heard people say the problem of the party is the new acting national chairman and his NWC. But the truth, Chegu, is this. In my opinion, the problem of the PDP is what I would call the Atiku Abubakar problem. And here is why. His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, the Waziri Adamawa, the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has done more damage to the PDP than anybody dead or alive. Right from the inception of the PDP, just a few years after the party won the election and started governing the country under President Olusegun Obasanjo. Even before the government was settled down, we started hearing whispers about the Mandela option, trying to force President Obasanjo out of office after 1 term so that His Excellency Vice President Atiku Abubakar would take over. When that didn't work, in 2007, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar left the party, went to Action Congress of Nigeria, contested the election against the party, lost, and he returned back to the party. Now, in 2013, I was in the National Working Committee as the National Publicity Secretary under the leadership of the most respected Dr. Bamangal Tokoro, the Tafida Adamawa, when Alhaji Atiku Abubakar led 5 serving governors of the party and members of the National Assembly, including the then Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tambuwal, and powerful senators like Senator Saraki, and they formed what they called the new PDP. And they now joined the CPC, the ACN, the NPP, and the Rochas Okorosha's faction of the APGA to form the APC. In one swoop, they took away about 20% of the strength of the party. This was a devastating blow to the PDP. So when they moved, prior to the 2015 election, of course you know how the election went, President Jonathan conceded the election. And again, Vice President Atiku Abubakar returned to the party. Now, to be clear, Jeffrey, at that time, the party's constitution was very clear. If you leave the party, if you left the party, upon your return to the party, you were supposed to lose all your privileges. But each time he left and he returned back to the party, he wasn't back straight into the Board of Trustees, into the National Executive Committee, and it just looked like nothing happened. And you look at it, this was where the seed of indiscipline was sown in this party. So this thing that started before the 2003 election has festered. In 2019 election, when some of us saw the monumental disaster that was the Buhari administration, and because the Hold on, I'm coming. Let me
because of time, you can land on your thoughts. I got a couple of questions to follow up so that we can accommodate as many as possible.
Okay. I'm just going to cut it. I'm just going to cut it short now.
Okay.
Now, the final nail on the coffin of the party, which has put the party where it is now, was by the same Vice President Atiku Abubakar in the 2022-23 election cycle. The injustice perpetrated by the PDP in that cycle is what is affecting the party at this time. Because we had a situation where a national chairman from the north convoked and presided over a national convention that selected a candidate from the north to run in an election to replace an outgoing president from the north who had served 8 years. And the icing on the cake on this is that the outgoing president and the candidate of the PDP are of the same ethnic stock. So in a multi-ethnic, multicultural, diverse country like Nigeria, all of us are supposed to just fold our hands and let that happen. It was when that happened that the mass exodus from the party started.
So in your view, Mr. Okeke, just a moment, if I come in there, in your view, because as I see the picture, some of the things you've painted are familiar pictures, but we need to look ahead because the weakness or the docility, as someone would describe it, of opposition, lead opposition like the PDP, is affecting the strength of our democracy. Because when the APC was in opposition, whether they were a collective as APC or they were a splinter, CPC, ACN, and all of that, they gave the PDP a run for their money as far as opposition politics is concerned. But perhaps PDP got used to being the leaders and they don't understand how to play opposition politics. We do not know. Because, for instance, now, it's been difficult to hold even a NEC meeting. It has been shifted again and again. I even did, what's his name? Kola Logo Agba, the former National Publicity Secretary. I said, your neck will not hold. And he was laughing. He said it will hold. And it didn't hold. And it has been shifted again. So what is the way forward? And I'm asking because it doesn't look like Atiku Abubakar is not going to run again.
Now, the way forward is pretty straightforward. I listened recently to an interview granted by the former governor of Benue State, former senator, who is now Secretary to the Government of the Federation, His Excellency George Akume, where he discussed in details a meeting hosted by the much revered Masanin Kanu, Alhaji Mastamasule of the blessed memory, where it was agreed that for national unity, cohesion, sense of belonging for everybody in the country, that the presidency should rotate 8 years in the north and 8 years in the south. And by the way, this was the reason proffered by His Excellency Atiku Abubakar and the 5 governors when they were leaving the PDP in 2013, that if they allowed President Jonathan to continue, that means power would have been in the south for 10 years instead of the 8 years that was agreed. So the way forward is the leadership of the party would need to come together, everybody, an expanded caucus of the party would need to come together and commit irrevocably to zoning the 2027 presidential ticket of the party to the South. If that happens, and when that happens, the people who left the party out of annoyance because of the injustice of the 2023 nomination would come back. And when everybody's back, this party would bounce back. And there will be stronger position.
So in your view, if they were to get back to the South, as you proposed, which region of the South? We have 3 regions of the South. Are you guys going to pick up somebody to contest against the president from his zone or any other zone, in your view?
Let us get it back to the South, first of all. When we get it back to the South, because the thing is, like you've just rightly said, that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar will run again. And he has even said it himself, that anytime he wants the PDP ticket, he will get it. And because of that, nobody is willing to take any risk for the party. Nobody is willing to fight for the party. But if we have the firm decision of the party that the ticket is zoned to the South, then we can begin to get the party back to strength. And by the way, Jeffrey, we need to understand what we are up against. We're up against one of the best strategic minds, if not really the best strategic political mind in the country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is an enigma. He's someone who has deflected everything that has been thrown at him. So for us to defeat him and for us to save this country from the maladministration of the APC, we must all come together and we must all agree that this ticket is going to the South. If this ticket is not going to the South, it's not going to work.
So do you feel that the PDP on its own can actually beat the APC in this 2027 election? I know it's still far away, but politicians, you always have this long-term plan. I'm going to somewhere with that question, because it took an alliance of the ACN, the CPC, the ANPP, some group in ALBGA, new PDP to come together and form the APC to be able to kick the PDP out of power. And now it looks like all the alliances conversation is not going any. Do you think the PDP on its own, without an alliance with other political parties, maybe the Labour Party or NMPP or any other party, can be able to beat the APC?
Three-quarters of the people in the other political parties are people who left the PDP. The Labour Party, for instance, there are people that left the PDP. And they left the PDP because of the injustice. So if PDP decides to do what is right, most of these people will come back. Look, the election of 2023 would have been the easiest election for PDP to win, because there were 8 years of monumental disaster by the Buhari administration. People were fed up. Everybody knew that the APC had nothing to offer. But the PDP then shot itself in the leg.
All right, so let's quickly, my apologies. Let's quickly transit now from talking about core party politics to the management of our Commonwealth, the administration of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, whom you have said is an enigma. He has foresight when it comes to politics. He plays this game. He's done it for many years, so he understands the game. But you've mentioned the fact that monumental disaster is a word used to describe the administration of Muhammadu Buhari, but things are now even worse off in terms of the cost of living and all of that. What's your general assessment? He said this is necessary for tomorrow.
Yeah. Things, you see, in law we say you cannot build something on nothing. The last administration took this country like 50 years back. The present administration, I think, is trying to take us like 100 years back. So the president, yes, I said he's an enigma. I said he's politically smart and all of that. But you see, there's a fundamental difference between politics and governance. And this is the reason I am here today. Jeffrey, look, it's more than a decade I left office as National Public Secretary I've not granted any interview politically to anybody. This is the first time I'm talking because I'm really quite upset about what's going on. This is our country. At the time we were in office at Wadata House, we had a booming middle class. We had a booming economy. We had the fastest growing economy in Africa. We were topping the world. We were doing everything. Today, what do we have? Everywhere you go, you see professionals, lawyers, bankers, all sorts of people leaving Nigeria. And what are they going to do? Security man's job? Social care job? This is not the dream that we have for this country. But if the PDP continues the way it's going, then this would continue to happen because a divided house cannot be the APC. We must all come together. I understand a lot of people are holding meetings, thinking of forming a new political party and all of that. No matter what you form, the PDP is a household name in the country. In my place, they say, when a man marries 2 wives, he would know which one is better. Nigerians have seen it. Nigerians have seen between APC and PDP. And there's no question at all about the PDP being the better political party. So the PDP has the name and has the reach.
Let's talk about something that's taking place, which is about August. August this year, if I can remember correctly, we should be wrapping up issues around constitutional amendment. And we're looking at issues around state police and every other issue that is being looked at as an amendment to the Constitution. If you were to make an input as an individual, a lawyer, a party man, as far as the input to that constitutional amendment is concerned, what will it be? And I'd like you to emphatically speak about the issue of state police. The reason we always raise that issue is the fact that with the governors, a lot of people are concerned about what they consider chokehold of governors on structures, local governments, the state assembly, and we can go on and on. Putting police in their hands, nobody's sure what will be the outcome. So I would like you to speak to that.
No, see, if I am all for state police, I support the creation of state police, community policing. Everywhere in the world, community policing is the best way to go. I come from Anambra. My local government in Anambra is a Kusigo local government area. Now, sometimes I have a DPO from Adamawa or a DPO from Sokoto. This DPO does not know anything about the local community. The people there do not trust him. So how can he work? How can he be effective? Regarding the powers of the governor, when the Constitution is amended, we can create an independent police commission to oversee the police. This is the 21st century, Jeffrey. Everywhere you go, you don't see the people in government having that much control over the police or the security agencies.
Okay.
So we cannot leave it in the hands of the governors. The governors have actually proven to be very unreliable. And part of the problem that we even have in the PDP goes back to what the governors have been doing over the years.
All right, Mr. Okeke, totally out of time, but you've used very strong words, and I think you're very brutally honest with your perspective as to the issues I've raised with you. And thank you for coming out of, I don't know, was it retirement or tiredness or whatever it is that you...
Well, semi-retirement. But you see, I had to drag myself out because the truth of the matter is I travel a lot, and everywhere I go and I see Nigerians, I really get very upset about it.
All right, totally out of time. So, for people who can't remember, I think you took over from Olisa Metu when he left office.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I took over from him and handed over back to him again.
All right, Tony Caesar Okeke is a former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you.